And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Well, good afternoon. It's like 4 or 5 p.m. right now. Last day I have this Ram, so it's officially sold. My account with Chrysler Capital is closed out completely. So I now 100% own this truck. It's in my name and everything. I'm taking it down to my friend's house tonight. If you guys saw the last video, I sold it to him for exactly what I owed on this truck. Now, to get it paid off, I did lease this truck, which makes it a little bit of a curious thing for a lot of you guys because I've leased like 3 or 4 of my trucks and I've sold every single one of them in about a year period or so. So I've never kept the lease all the way until the end of my lease term. On top of that too, I also highly modify my trucks as well. So all those things are curious things for you guys when it comes to leasing something. I know it's a very odd concept to modify it considering you have to return it in its stock form. So we'll get into all that right now. I do need to race on down to Voodoo Auto House because I sent some tires over there for my next truck, which by the way, I'm sorry guys, I gotta do it. I can't tell you guys what it is quite yet. The truck is so close to being here and I think it'd be a lot cooler to just showcase to you guys what it is when it arrived. It was supposed to arrive earlier, last week, and then it got delayed a couple of days. It just got delayed again to March 1st to March 3rd. It's getting delivered to the dealership out in Arizona, and then I'm shipping it from there out here to California. So I should have it hopefully in about, I would say maybe a week or so, at most 10 days. I'm hoping for the best, but the truck will be here before you guys know it. So on the way down to Voodoo, we'll talk a little bit about how I get out of my leases early, how I sell my trucks, how I modify them while having a lease. So I will clarify it to the best of my ability on our way down to picking up the new tires for my next truck. Dude, I'm so excited. Bro, you have no idea, dude. Today is a good day. It's beautiful out. It's been really oddly cold out. It's been like painfully chilly out. Today's beautiful. It's sunny, it's warm, it's breezy, and I'm having a good day. I detailed the truck. It's ready to go off to the next owner, and it's staying in the family, dude. To a good friend of mine I've known for a long time, and he's buying it for his son, dude. It's all around a good experience, dude. It's a good day. Everything is falling in line except for my new truck getting delayed a little bit, but those things happen. You can't really count on transit all that much. Yeah, dude, this thing's looking good. Got the entire wrap detailed. It was looking pretty bad last time you guys saw it, but it's looking a lot better now. Tires are all shined up, interior, outside, everything is dialed, dude. So it is ready to go. Head on down to Voodoo, pick up the tires, and along the way, let's talk a little bit about how I get out of my leases early. Let's do it. Last thing the Ram, boys. Nah, I'm playing. I don't really get attached to cars and trucks too much. Like material things, I don't really ever care. But it is kind of a sad day to know this is my last day in this truck. I mean, I've had it for 2 years now, which is like the longest I've had a truck in a very long time, if ever. I don't think I've ever had a car for 2 years. Honestly, I've never been good about keeping anything or any car or truck for that long. I'll keep the same cell phone, the same wallet, the same keychain, the same shoes, the same everything except for my car or my truck. I'm just really bad about keeping them for longer than like a year. The main reason why I'm selling this truck right here is because, I mean, for one, I don't drive it that much anymore. Since I've had my Silverado, I drive it more lately because it's my only truck. Not after today, now I have no truck and I'll be borrowing a car, but I've only been holding on to it for the sake of just not having time to sell it, really, or not having time, but just not getting around to selling it. The reason why I don't drive that much anymore, dude, is because it's really bad on gas. I think I was slightly more upset about selling my Silverado, my green Silverado, more than any other truck, because that was the boldest thing I've ever done was wrap it in a lime green truck color. Wrap my truck in lime green. That was hands down the crazy. And I've never done 22s either. 22s were always something I wanted to do, but never actually pulled the trigger on it, because for one, they're very expensive, and for two, I wasn't sure how it would ride. That was my first time driving on 22s, and I wrapped it in 35s, and it drove really nice actually. Not as great off-road, obviously. It rides a lot harder than even 20s, but I put a lot of more money into that truck than any other truck. So I think I was a little more dang, when I sold my Silverado. There was a time where having this truck made sense, even with the poor fuel economy, because I can convert what I do to this truck into ad revenue by giving you guys entertainment, watching the progress unfold. You make a video on it, and you get ad revenue out of that, which is why it made sense. But now I'm no longer making content on this truck. I do drive it from time to time, but it is so bad on fuel that it makes no sense anymore to keep this truck. And that's why I'm terrified to buy a Ram TRX. I am buying a Silverado ZR2 in the future, but that's not gonna be the next truck because I have no idea when the ZR2 will be up for grabs. It's just, everything is so up in the air. You know, one dealership might say one thing while another says another thing. There's never like a solid answer as to when you will take delivery of your new truck. So I don't know when that'll happen. I don't know when they'll be getting delivered. It seems like the date keeps getting pushed further and further back. I want to buy something that's available now. And this truck that I'm buying in between, you know, selling this truck and my ZR2 is going to be absolutely epic, dude. And it's been a long time since I've done something that has been sort of this exciting. So yeah, dude, I can't wait for that. Anyways, I want to talk to you guys about how I sort of get out of my leases early, because I've leased almost every one of my trucks, except for my 2019 Silverado. I bought that truck brand new. That was my first brand new full-size truck. I had the 2018 GMC Canyon before that one, and that truck was cool. That was the foundation of my channel. And then I thought about just taking it to the next level. That was the biggest investment I'd ever made. And I sold that truck and I traded it in for this truck right here. Now I did purchase my 19 Silverado, but I leased the GMC Canyon, and then I leased this truck right here. I also leased my 2021 Silverado, which I just sold a little less than 2 months ago. And I just sold this one as well. So you guys have been curious about how I go about like getting out of leases early, and every time I modify them, a lot of you guys do comment and say things along the lines of like, how do you modify your truck when it's a lease? Isn't it a lease? Like, how are you modifying it? It's actually a very simple process, honestly, and especially if you go the route of trading it into a dealership, it's even easier, but it could be trickier in certain applications. Now, if I were to want to sell my truck, for example, say I do lease my Ram, right? Now let's just say I want to sell it to a friend of mine, which I ended up doing. The process could be a lot trickier than just, it's a lot easier if you lease and you want to trade it into a dealership, because dealerships have the ability to just make it a lot easier, and they don't pay sales tax on it when they buy cars. They hold on to them until they sell them, and then they just pay, you know, their taxes on the capital gains, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's a lot more appealing for a dealership to buy it from you. This is in no way, shape, or form a video on like how to or what you should do, or, you know, any tips and advice on how to properly do this. This is just my experience, what I've done, and it's worked out pretty well so far. So anyways, so far, every lease I've had, I've sold to a dealership, which has made it 100 times easier than it is to go the route of selling it to private party. What I ended up doing on this truck right here was buying out the Ram completely first, and I'll have the title in my name, which I will then take directly to my friend, sign it over, and then boom, now he owns the truck. He takes the title over to the DMV or any type of registration service, AAA, whatever, pays the sales tax, and then boom, the truck is now in his name completely. You know, it all depends how convenient you want it to be. If you want to make it easy as can be, sell it to a dealership. If you want to get the most out of your vehicle you have a lease on, then sell it to whatever dealership your lease terms allow you to sell it to. Now, when it comes to modifying a vehicle that you have a lease on, if you plan to keep that car until the end of your lease term, everything you do to it needs to be reversible. So your window tint needs to be peeled off, your wheels and tires have to come off. If you do an exhaust on it, you better hope that everything was bolt-on and it goes back to stock, because they will bill you for every little modification. So yeah, I modify my trucks as much as I want to, because I know I'm not keeping it until the end of my lease term. So I chop off my exhaust, I do lift kits, which aren't even like, I'm not cutting into the frame or anything. I'm doing all bolt-on lift kit stuff anyways. Everything for the most part that I do is reversible, actually. The wrap's reversible, window tint's reversible. My exhaust is reversible, but it wouldn't, the old one couldn't go back on because I cut it off. Welcome to Voodoo. We're here to pick up some tires, so let's get it. And just like that, I am no longer the owner of my 2020 Ram Laramie officially. I have delivered it off to my friend, who bought it for his son who's graduating high school pretty soon. Not a bad whip for someone graduating high school and going off to college next year. But anyways, so I sold it to my buddy for exactly what I owed on it, which was $39,000 and some change. Now, how I handled this transaction right here was different than how I've done it before, because every other lease truck that I've had, I sold to a dealership, the dealership that I bought my next truck from. This right here was the first time that I've done it, you know, a private party transaction on a truck that I'm leasing. It's always been super easy and very straightforward. The reason why trading it into a dealership works out better for a lot of people is because generally you wind up upside down on your lease or your loan. But right now is kind of a different time. I bought my truck before the shortage. I bought the Ram in March of 2020. That was like right when the world had shut down. So it was right before the truck shortage, you know, happened. And so I was able to capitalize off it now, because now my truck's worth more than, you know, it probably should be if times were like normal. When you sell it to a dealership, you have an advantage of, if you are upside down on your loan, you can roll that negative equity into the, you know, the next lease or the next loan. If you are going the private party route, if you're selling your lease vehicle to someone you don't know, there has to be a very big trust factor involved. No matter who the check comes from, no matter where the money comes from, the bank is going to release the title into my name. So he needs to trust that I'm going to take the title using his money, which has now been released into my name, and, you know, give it to him and sign it over to him once the title arrives, and not, you know, disappear into the darkness with a truck that's now in my name using his money. So I'm not sure if there's some kind of like contract you can come up with, you know, have someone create some contract where you guys agree before title arrives that the truck has to, or the title has to be put into their name, you know, within like 10 days after you receive it or something like that. I'm not too sure if you can come up with that, but yes, when you pay off a bank, no matter who it comes from, anybody can pay off the bank. I could have had literally anybody pay off the bank with their cashier's check, but no matter what, it's getting released into my name. So, you know, that could be like a little bit of a caveat for some people, which is why usually it's just, overall, people just really enjoy the process of it being a lot easier and selling it off to a dealership, especially when that dealership has the vehicle that you're looking to get into next. Not often is it that someone's looking to just sell their vehicle and not buy another one. Well, I kind of bought one. I did buy one. I bought one. One's coming. I'm not too entirely sure exactly when yet, but hopefully sometime in the next about week or so, because it arrives at the dealership in about probably a day or two at this point. It arrives between the 1st and the 3rd of March. And then once it gets there, they have to send me over some documents. I have to put a wet signature on, overnight it back to the dealership. And then from that point forward, they'll put it on a truck for me and ship it directly to my door. And then we'll debut the new truck. As of right now, a lot of automakers aren't allowing you to sell outside of their brand. Like my Silverado, for example, I wasn't able to sell it outside of GM, so I had to sell it back to either Cadillac, GMC, Chevy, or Buick. That right there kind of falls back onto the vehicle shortage thing again, because they don't want you to sell your, say for example, your Chevy Silverado over to a Ford dealership and Ford makes more money. Chevy or GM wants you to bring that truck back to their dealerships so they have an opportunity to make some money because of the vehicle shortages. That right there is something to consider if you are going to lease your own vehicle. So just to summarize, that right there is pretty much how I've been doing it. That's how I get out of my leases early, either selling them to dealerships or selling them private party. That right there is all I have for you guys today. As always, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Till then, peace out.